Cool. We are started. All right. I'll give it a second before we do the official countdown. Count it down. Get a countdown. Do a stretch. Welcome, everybody, to this late evening little streameroo. Appreciate you for being here, even though it is pretty late. Today, we are going to go over... What are we going to go over today? We're going to go over what we did on the day, just kind of see how everything played out. And then after that, we will talk about our OTE and how we use it with fair value gaps, because I feel like that does go hand in hand. Just using those retracements, using OTE setups after a swing high or a swing low, a 15-minute chart or 5-minute chart. It just kind of helps with risk optimization. So let's do that. Let's go into let's start here on this 4-hour chart. This is NQH. So this is the March contract still. Probably going to wait out this week just so then I can chart it clearly next week. I mean, it's pretty much the same price action, right? You just have more lows to the downside, or we can also be looking at US 100 if we just really want to see those clear moves. But what we were saying, right? We have this daily fair value gap above. If we can get above that, then we can certainly come back, retest it, and continue higher. As you can see right now, price did not hold it, so we retrace through it. This green line, 19,686.75, is our level. We need above that in order if we want to continue higher, and below it if we're looking for lower. Now below we also have this line, this blue line, 19,404.25. That is the previous week's wick outlined, and that 19,404 is the 50% of it. Now you can see how well we're bouncing it so far, right? So anything below that, we can start looking for that previous week low and possibly anything else below that. All right, but that is, once again, if we displace this, then we can start looking for the downside. If we displace the previous weekly low, then we can start looking for more downside, right? So far, kind of breaking out of this little trend line that they've been building up and kind of seeing a similar consolidation, right? Just a similar move that we've had these past few weeks where they consolidated, drop, consolidated, drop, consolidated, drop. So that's what we could look for on FOMC consolidation right now. So we can see a little continuation down. But that is, right, we're still applying our if-then cases. As long as this 19,404 holds, we are still good to go back above. That is just a quick outline of what we could possibly do, right? Our animal that we outlined. Let's take a look-ski here. Our animal. Considering the gap up, we almost did a little perfect rejection over here at the point D, right? So now we're coming down, consolidating it around the same spot, but this is with that cap up on the contract. So we won't be looking at that, but I like this one, how it's set up. Let's see. Whoa. Okay. So what did we do on the day? We honestly took some shorts overnight. We had this beautiful OB over here. We came into it overnight and started to come back down. That was because we were playing if then, right? We had this green line above. That was the top of this little 4-hour gap, or midway. I think it was OTE of the range, the weekly range that we outlined. Yeah, that was that 705, 786 of the range. You can see how well we rejected that previous weekly range, right? That's why we outlined those levels, and we outlined this on Sunday. Let me go into our paper traders. Look at that. Almost do it to you, right? Did we outline those? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep. We have the whole range outlined, but we're mostly looking for that other range, just the weekly range, right? So the weekly range, we have rejected OTE. That's without this little gap up. So we can look at US 100, see, okay, we had this little trend line. We broke below the trend line. Now we almost came back up, retested it, and now we have began to sell back down. It's kind of similar still to that consolidation on the 4-hour. Very similar move here. Right, there's our Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah. Sunday high. So that is our previous weekly range right here. C786 rejecting that. That's beautiful, right? So as we're holding below these levels on our US 100, then we can start. Then we can be anticipating possible fill of this little volume imbalance, right? Something that we covered on our previous streams, gaps versus fair value gaps versus just volume imbalances. So let's save that. Crypto, I exited all of my positions. I'm not trading this stuff right there. Let me do something. Let me copy this. I want it on this chart, just so I can see. Okay, so we're back below our little line. So as long as we're below that little line, we are still in selling mode. HFMC, I don't know what they're predicting for that. I don't know what could happen with it. And we're not going to predict, right? We're playing if-then scenarios. If we're seeing level hold, then we are looking for downside or upside. But then on the 5-minute over here, what you could have done for your entry, could have seen how we are. Right, we weren't discounting the fact that, hey, Asian session was still left and London has taken it out. But we were looking at our higher time frame, right? We saw that rejection of the order block right there. Right? We can honestly outline. That also lined up with our 19821 level that we have outlined previously. We have said, okay, this is an important level. All right, so we want to make sure we watch for a reaction. Last night, we opened up. I mean, this was that contract gap, but we came into 20061. Also, watch for reaction level, right? Could not displace above those two levels. So we continued selling, saw a little retrace into the level, into the order block. Okay, cool. Continuation down. Also, yeah, 4-hour. You had your 4-hour fair value gap right here that we could not close below. And right now we're watching this huge 4-hour fair value gap play out and seeing what it wants to do. Could possibly do a little TBR over here tomorrow. Just don't want to. I can look for that zone to be. Let me make it a little lighter so that we can still see chart a little more clear. Retested this Timmy candle over here. Retested that level, right? So right now we're kind of stuck between those two levels of if-thens, right? If we're displacing that, then we can go higher. If we're displacing this, then we can go lower. But right now we're just watching for those reactions. Sorry, 5 minutes I was saying earlier, we were watching this 19940 in our Discord. We outlined that perfectly. We said, okay, anything below the opening price, we are going to be looking for downside, right? Price holds don't likely to retrace back up so far, unlike an HNS. We'd love to see a break capture this wicks, but levels right now are upside resistance for it would be midnight open at 19,730 that we were looking on over here, right? NQH chart. Yeah, so we were looking at this midnight open, right? We were seeing how we were consolidating below it, and we said, okay, if we break this level, then we can start looking for downside. That is exactly what we did. Fair value gap over here, retrace into it, fair value gap held. Awesome. Continue downside. That is that. That's the day. That's the day that we had. And then just chop. Rest of the day.
Chop.
From 10 a.m. to to the market close. But consolidation, right? As we always say, we don't reverse from consolidations. We still have a huge consolidation, a higher time frame, lower time frame right now. We're consolidating, so we could see a retrace back into some range, right? Retest some levels up above, possibly this hourly Timmy, and then come back down a little further. Just anticipating, right? We're not saying it will happen, but we're just playing if-thens. Okay, let's dive into our OTE lesson. OTE, optimal trade entry. Really quick, if you guys have any questions at any point, feel free to stop me, ask me in chat. I have the chat pulled up on all platforms, so let me know if you have anything. If you're watching this in the Discord, just tag me. Sometimes I don't see that little, like the live chat, but I'll keep a look on it. So just let me know. If you have any questions, we will. Stock screener. Okay. But yeah, let me know. Stop me. I'll answer any questions, and we'll go from there. So, our OTEs, some of our favorite OTEs are probably, okay, this is perfect. We're on the 15-minute chart. Let's get rid of not everything that we have on it, but it's like a lot of that. Tops and bottoms, and also just those pre-market last leg manipulation OTE. Right. I have a little outline OTE. These are the levels that I have. Let me grab a quick drinky poo of water. If you guys watching right now, if you check out my water bottle, I got a cool little. Oh, is my camera lagging? There we go. A cool little sticker on it. If you guys want one, if this live stream gets, I don't know, 5 shares, tell 5 friends. I'll pick a person. I'll personally mail you a sticker, and I'll write you a handwritten thank you note for watching the stream.
Little love note.
How about that? Yeah, I'll even kiss it. I'll put some lipstick on and kiss it to seal it.
I was gonna say something else, but I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, you can say it.
Nope.
I can beat you real fast on stream, and you can say it.
It's a mushroom.
Yeah, if you guys see it, it's not line up the lips. It might be something else. But right, our bearish bullish OTEs 1 to 0, 0 to 1. So any manipulation that kind of takes like this, right? There's your little manipulation leg, and then we can look for a retrace into any one of these levels. Anything about 50%. 618 is awesome. 705, right? You can if you're scaling in, you can do a 618, some contracts 618, some contracts 705. But if you're seeing like a displacement, I want to say above 705, then your OTE begins to get void, and then you're likely going to get ran. So just watch out for that. And then inside this OTE, right, we can draw a fair value gap right here. And that's how we like to play those, right? We capture a big level, right? Let's say we captured this level. There's your manipulation, right? Then this comes into a fair value gap combined with OTE. That gives us a very strong either downside or upside move, and we can kind of go based off of that. On the 15-minute, we like to take anything just like a pre-market little move manipulation up, just one before the market starts to reverse. So like, for example, on this one, right, we can take this low to high. See, we kind of never necessarily came into the above the 50%. So kind of started to sell back down. We can expand it, right? We can do most recent low to high, and then you start to get your that 618, right? So right at 8:30 is when you start to get those moves. That's why we like to wake up early and really capture, make sure we have our eye on the market, because sometimes you don't even have to wait for a move to happen during the New York session. You can get in before the New York session starts at 8:30 or before the market opens, and you can be done by the time we were open. You can slap OTE onto a news candle as well and see whether or not it holds. I think we've gone over multiple examples of those. So let's see. So over here, right? And once you start, I will say backtest the living fuck out of OTEs, because once you kind of start to, once you backtest them enough, you can just kind of tell by looking at a little range, being like, oh, that's OTE. Shane and I do that all the time on stream. We're like, oh, that's an OTE, and then we draw it out, and it's perfect, like 786 or one of those levels. So there's two ways, right? You can draw it from most recent high to low, or do it like in a range. So depending on which way you look at them, honestly, I don't think there's really like a perfect way to look at an OTE, and then you can draw expansions on them. But mainly we'll look for them in terms of entries, right? So like right here, we had this range, right? We took these levels, we displaced up, and now we're looking for a retracement back down, right? Because markets, what do we always say, right? Let's look back at our cheat sheet over here, right? We go from consolidation to expansion to retracement, or we can go from consolidation to expansion and then to reversal, right? So over here, sure, we had a little consolidation, expansion, reversal, and now we can go back to expansion or retracement. So over here, we had a little retrace into that OTE. You can see that 786 holding, right? You're looking for body closes. It can wick into it, right? Or you can have a little wick into it, but the bodies are holding the below the 50% or above the 50%. It's kind of looking for those little entries, right? Over here, we can take this range, right? That's our last pretty much big range before the pre-market, before we opened up over here. So we can take this low to high, right? I'm sure this is going to be like the -1 of the range. Let's see. Standard deviation. Yeah, there's your -1. Right, so you can kind of gauge targets with that, but we're not talking about that right now. We're just looking at OTE. Right, there's your OTE. This is your range right here. Right, London session range typically plays out perfectly for your New York session. Let's see right here at 9:30, we come in, we tap, get rid of this level. We tap 618, and then we continue up, right? What else do we have over here? Could have taken this whole range right there, starting to see, okay, we're retracing a little bit above the 0.5% over here. We have a little fair value gap right there on the 15-minute. Okay, we continue holding this fair value gap throughout. And why is it a fair value gap? Because it is below the 50%, and that is considered discount, right? Something that we covered on our previous lessons. That was on. Uh, we covered them yesterday, or no, sorry, on Sunday. We talked about fair value gaps. Or maybe we should also talk a little bit about premium discount ranges on one of the streams. But check out that live stream if you haven't already. YouTube.com. It's linked in my description or on my wall. Go follow our social medias. You will see all the videos that we have ever done. All the live streams are recorded on there, so you're able to go in and rewatch those. So we're here, right? We're just looking for that OTE. 705 is like your perfect OTE. 786 is going to be just a little bit deeper. 618 is a little bit more of a shallower OT, right? So over here, we got the 618, or yeah, it's 618 continuation up. Let's see. We keep going. What do we have? We have a little pre-market over here, right? We can take our low. We can take our high right here. Expand it. See, come into 705 at 930, right? Or 945, 930. Continue up. Don't necessarily sell back, or don't necessarily displace and go higher. We sell back down. And this is where you can also start throwing your fibs onto ranges, right? We had this range. Guess what we did? We came into the OTE of this range, right? So it's all about that perspective. It's all about higher time frame and where does the market want to go. So, okay, if we're looking on the hourly, right, trend might be down. So on the 15-minute, we were looking for a range and a retrace into that range, retrace into the OTE of that range, anything above 50, right, to short from or to long from if we're looking for upside, obviously, just a reverse of that. But right here, right, what else do we have right here? We have this fair value gap. Look how well, right, sitting right between 705 and 786, we retrace into it. Our bodies never close above the fair value gap, never close above the 786. So then we just continue down, right? And then I'm sure we hit a -1 as well over here somewhere. So if we do this, look at that, to a T. -1. Over here, you can take this range, right? This range right here. Take low to high, or low to high right here. We'll do like the most recent ones. Look at that. 786, continuation up. Right over here, that's 50% of that wick right there as well. Right? That's why we also measure wicks. Wicks are your manipulations, right? On a lower time frame, it is going to be a manipulation. So seeing 50% of it, all right, awesome. Continuation up if we're holding. Let's keep her going. Let's see. This is a news candle. I want to find a good news candle to show. All right, there's your news candle. So we can measure the OTE of it as well, either upside or downside. All right, this one was more of upside. We can see that we kind of wick below it, but then price has never closed the body below the 786. So we can say, all right, if we don't have a close below 786, then we can start looking for upside, right? Form those if-then cases. Always write out your little plan with the if-then. If we hit this level, then I'm looking for this reaction. If we hit that level, then I'm doing this, right? It's kind of a little. It helps you stay unbiased in the market. At least for me, that's what I have noticed, that whenever I write out those little plans, it helps me really just stay like, okay, now I know what I'm going to do if something happens, right? It's the preparedness, it's being ready, right? It's all about how you react in the market to certain things that happen. So if you're ready, if you know how you're going to react, no matter what, you're going to be prepared, right? It's kind of like putting yourself into uncomfortable situations in life. You're going to be ready if you know how you have reacted in the past. You're like, okay, well, next time if this happens, then I'm going to do this, you know? So it's the same thing in the market. If we hit this level, then I'm going to do that. Does that make sense? Is that a good analogy? Or is that a bad analogy?
I think that was good.
Sweet. Let's keep it going. Mm-mm. That's right. Sometimes you get those big ranges where it's just like, I'm not even going to capture it or do anything with it. On the 5 minute, right? On the 5 minute, sometimes you're able to dial it in a little bit better, but we like to use the 15 minute just because it's a higher time frame, so it gives you a better outlook of, okay, what are we actually doing? What is price doing? How are we displacing? What's happening? And also, let's take a look ski. Right? Once again, come down, take liquidity, right? We see displacement over here, right? We do have a fair value gap. So, all right, let's throw an OTE on it. What do? Come into 705, plus we have this fair value gap right there. Don't have a body close below 786. Okay, we can start looking for our upside targets. What do we have? We have all of these flat tops. We got all of these, and then we can also look for our higher time frame, right? So then on a higher time frame, what is our range? Our range is this top to this bottom, right? Where do we come into? 786? I think so. Look at that. 786, dig a little bit into this little fair value gap right there, and then reject back down. Right? So it's all about looking at that context, seeing, okay, what is price wanting to do? Similar thing over here. We see a huge sell, right? We got a fair value gap right here. Okay, what is our range before the retrace leg happens? This is our range. Look at that, 705 to a T. Fair value gap inside of this range as well. Look at that. Right? If you're like, oh, I don't know where inside this fair value gap I should take a trade. Should I take it like right at open? Should I take it at the CE? Then if it doesn't get to the CE of the CE consecutive encroachment or 50% of that gap, if it doesn't get to CE, then you're feeling FOMO, and then you might try to revenge trade because you're like, fuck, I knew this move was gonna happen, so I'm gonna try to capture it again. Then you're just like chopping around over here. That's why I throw a little OTE on it. Okay, cool. I can enter at 618. I can enter at 705. What am I liking? I'm liking 705. It's not quite the 50% of this gap, but it's also that optimal trade entry, right? It's that ideal where I want, and it gives me a better RR, right? You got your upside, you got your downside. Most of the time, what you can do, right? You enter over here. So we're talking about entries now a little bit, but you got your entry over here. You can trim your contracts right there, right? You can take majority of your position once we close below that range, because if we don't displace below it, then we're looking for another retrace leg, right? It's kind of like, okay, liquidity taken, cool, we can reverse, right? Or you can throw an OTE on it and then see, or a fib on it and then see whether or not we come back down and hit those levels, right? But most of the time, for these big ranges where we're just like huge sell with no retrace, and you're just like, fuck, I missed this entry short. No, okay, let's throw an OTE on it and then see how far into it comes down. And also we can take this range right here. Right? It's all interchangeable. Right? Where do we come down to? 705 of this range. Bounced right on it. Fucking coffee drying out my throat again.
Always.
Good God.
It's that espresso.
Mm-hmm. No, I smacked some of that. Some Japanese blend of.
Oh, what you posted a picture of?
Yeah. Of that instant Japanese.
Clapping.
It's pretty good. We'll see.
Sounds like it.
I needed it. Otherwise, I'd be fucking falling asleep.
Yep. Feel that.
I mean, right now, right? What we could be looking at. Cool. We swept this top. Couldn't displace above it. Could look for the bottom of those wicks. Just a little. Could be a good overnight trade, right? All right. No, I'm saying previous day low. Good target. But we'll see. I'm not going to take any trades overnight. Might not even trade tomorrow considering FOMC. Just we'll see how she's looking in the morning. And we'll do a stream in the morning as well. And we'll do one later tomorrow. That one is going to have to be... Ooh, that one's probably going to have to be similar time that we did the one on Monday. Because I also got that late work. And then a dentist appointment too. Yeah, so let's do it. Let's do it probably right around 12 p.m., right when Powell speaks. We can do a little lesson.
Is that for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I will set it up in Discord.
Yeah, 12 p.m. Yeah, that should be good. Give me an hour to stream. Give me an hour to get to my dock. Do my thing. So that we're still delivering value to you guys. All right, over here. Let's see, what do we have? I'm not sure. Wednesday probably had some sort of news over here, but we'll take this range OTE, right? That we don't necessarily retrace into anything. We still sell back down, right? We close below that range is low, right? So then we can use that as another point where we've talked about. If we break that level, then we can look for the downside. If that range is broken, okay, then it's likely going further down. That's what we were looking for right here. Little fair value gap right over here. Barely tapped it. Okay, continuation down. Over here below, another fair value gap. Put an OTE on that puppy. Doesn't necessarily get into these levels, but still a solid little reversal from there. Right? You can also look at those. Yeah, we did cover those overnight ranges. I think a few days ago we had a really good overnight entry long. It was over here. So overnight, right over here, Monday, we pump. And then what do we do during our New York session? Retrace into 705. We had this fair value gap, beautiful, held, continuation up, right? And then what did we do last night? I don't think we retraced necessarily into the full OTE of it, but we kind of had at least a little bit, just another level over here, a little overblock, little Timmy candle right there. So cool, continuation down. That's why right now we are looking at that daily, right? You can use your daily OTE to define some of those levels as well. It's that previous day high right there. Sorry. There you go. Or you can just look at the most recent range, right? There's nothing wrong. You can outline two of them and have multiple points of interest, have multiple scenarios, right? It's better to have multiple scenarios, multiple plans than just have one being like, well, that plan didn't work out. I mean, it can be good, right? Okay, that didn't play out. Awesome. Come back the next day. But if it does, or if you have multiple ones, okay, that one didn't play out. All right, I'm looking for my next plan. Plan A, plan B, all of those if-thens outlined. Right? It's almost like you're making an equation. X plus B equals A, right? That's your X plus B if then this is the outcome that I'm going to do from that. But 618 lines up pretty well with that previous weekly or that Sunday open. So like we could retest the Sunday open again, and that's going to be our level, right? Since we broke below it, 1966.525. That's NQH chart, not NQM, not the continuous chart. NQH, if you're trading that, or just have it pulled up, right? Especially when the contracts roll, that's very helpful to have those multiple ones outlined. on your chart. Mm-mm-mm. I think that might be it for me for today in terms of OTE. Quick little lessons, drop some little nuggets. If you guys enjoyed the stream, give it a like, give it a little share. If you're not on Discord yet or want to see those daily plans that we post, papertraders.io. We have 3 awesome, oh my gosh, analysts. Well, everybody, all the analysts in there are fucking awesome. We got Russ, we got Shane, we got Timmy in there. So make sure you follow those guys on Twitter at Hazed Beats, at Big Timmy Hedge. He's posting great indicators. Russ, I think it's Russ the something. I forget his.
Russ the Thrashian.
Yeah, Russ the Thrashian. Follow him on Twitter as well. He has a little uh, levels indicator that just literally copies his daily plan into it and outlines those levels for you. So if you're not in yet, make sure you follow, get in,
I just retweeted him too.
and
He's got
learn.
great daily outlines.
Sweet. Yeah. He's a phenomenal outlining kind of similar thing that we do. Like if we hold this, then we do this. If we do this, then we do that. Kind of thing. Just outlining the days for you guys, making it very easy and structured for everyone to see and read his plan, right? We're not necessarily making or forming a quote unquote bias, right? We're just making a plan. If that plan doesn't work out, okay, cool. We switch our plan. We have multiple plans, we have multiple scenarios that can play out, and that's what we're going based off of. But if you guys enjoyed it, give it a like, give it a share, follow those dudes, check out our YouTube. That's where you can find all the other live videos that we have done in the past. We have 2 lifetime subscriptions still available for you guys. Check those out. Check out the monthly sub. Check out the weekly sub. Check it out for a week. Let us know what you think. Other than that, we will be back tomorrow morning. We'll do a live stream in the morning, outline those pre-market levels, kind of form that if-then plan, and then do another live stream tomorrow. And that one we are going to go over market structure shifts. Very important. And that is gonna do it for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the support, even if you're just tuning in. But spread the love, spread the word. If you're enjoying these, love you guys. And we will see ya.